Hi Phil.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today it's the interview of Phil Polglaze. Ha ha ha, that's me. My co-author is Lisa, and she will be doing the interviewing, and my words will be kept forever. Fame! Thank you.
I love that.
Well, that's a good introduction, isn't it?
It is. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Lisa. Here we go. Rock and roll.
I am with Phil Polglaze, photographer extraordinaire. It's Wednesday, the 9th of April, 2025.
Yep.
And what's the time? The time's now probably about 11:18. So my name is Lisa Soverall, and I work as a heritage officer at Southwark Archives. We are in the meeting room at John Harvard Library on Borough High Street in London, which is actually the same building as the archives. For the record, Phil, could you state your name, place, your full name, place and date of birth, if possible, please?
Yeah, my name is Philip Charles Polglaze. I was born on the 13th of January 1951 and lived and brought up to the age of 9 in a prefab in Camberwell.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Oh, right.
Oh, I'm a local boy. I'm a South London.
I didn't actually know you were.
Oh, yeah. The prefab was fantastic because...
Where was that?
It's called Tyndall Street in
Yes.
Lambeth.
Yeah.
And at one end of the road there was a bomb site, and the other end of the road was the bomb site. And luckily enough, we had a large garden and we kept chickens. This is in the 50s, as you given my date. I'm now 74. Sorry. And then from there we moved to St Martin's Estate up at Tulse Hill in 58. I went to college at 70 and lived in Mitcham, and eventually family, and we moved back to the borough in Upland Road, London, in 1989. So that gives you, and we're still there. So having travelled far, basically from London, from Lambeth to Mitcham and back to Southwark.
Yeah.
Fantastic borough.
A Londoner through and through.
A Londoner. I'm not going to go anywhere else.
So Phil, you were a freelance photographer working for Southwark Council
Yes.
Recreation and Leisure Department, recording their events throughout
That's right.
the 1980s and up to the early 2000s, principally for the council's press newspaper.
That's correct.
The Southwark Sparrow during that time.
Yep.
But before we get into talking about your career in photography, could I just ask a little bit about your early life and career? You've told me about where you grew up, but what school did you go to? How was school for you?
Yeah, school was okay. It was fun. I went to Fenstanton Primary, and then I went to Strand Grammar School, simply because I was lucky enough to be able to pass the swimming costume test.
The swimming costume test.
That's what I called it, the 11 plus. So remember, that's a long story. How long? I hope you haven't fallen asleep yet, because this is going to go on for hours. Anyway, and after Strand I went to Norwood Tech, and from there I went to First Down College of Education for 3 years and became a teacher.
What were your interests at college?
College was, I did various courses, one of which was a very thin photographic course. And I've always been interested in photography because my father worked as a technician, and at the place where he worked, they had a darkroom. At the age of 11, he took me to his workplace, which was King's College University in the Strand. He showed me how to print pictures, and I was always amazed. Anyway, at college, there was a slight photographic course, but they had one room which was a darkroom. And I decided that within the 3 years I would brush up on my photography, simply because my ability to write isn't so good, but my visualisation meant that when it came to my final exercise in geography, which I had to present, it was packed with pictures. Luckily enough for me, I passed. And they said, "Thou shalt go out and become a teacher." So, for the next 6 years, I ended up teaching, which I thoroughly enjoyed, at Tulse Hill Boys School in Brixton Hill.
Oh, wow.
A fantastic school.
What age were you there then?
I was 22. I think, 71. 71. I was 20. And I had taught from 74 to 1980. 6 years.
Wow.
And it was a great school. It always had bad press. And in fact, Muhammad Ali turned up at our school. And unfortunately, I didn't have a camera at that time. But I tell you what, that man had so much presence. And a good friend of mine, who was a photographer at the South London Press, actually took the pictures. And they were absolutely fantastic pictures of him on stage, and the whole school was assembled to see him. Honestly, I've never seen anybody with such magnetism. He walked on and the whole school went, yes, like that. Anyway, to continue. So from then...
You taught geography, you said?
I taught geography. Geography, geology and economics. I mean, it wasn't... it was GCSE stuff. It was enjoyable, it was fun.
Yeah.
I got on well with the kids, being a local boy, especially some of them, because where I grew up on the estate, it was only half a kilometre away from where the school was. So some of the kids on the estate knew me because of my age. And there was a touch of friction, but in the end, you just say, look, for God's sake, we're here, do what you do and get on with it, and that was that. And then eventually they grew up and moved out. But it was fun. I mean, it was packed with school. There was, 70 staff? It was a fantastic place, Tulse. And I also began, in teaching at this school, I was on the 6th floor in room 602, and by chance, on that floor, down the corridor, was a darkroom that was owned by the science department. Now, they never really used it. So I said to them, okay, right, you got a darkroom? I said, yeah. So in 1977, it would have been 77, I bought my first Pentax camera, and it was £136, 3 and 6pence. I can remember these things, and it was it was called a KM, a Pentax KM, a very simple. And then I realised it's a very single lens reflex, a very simple camera. Yeah. And now I had a camera, I had a darkroom, and so then, not having a regular girlfriend, I mean, I thought, right, what I'll do is I'll develop some skills, and with the camera, we filmed from a company called A.W. Young in Brixton, which were great people to get paper and chemicals from. Eddie was the bloke, he was a Jamaican, and he was a very clever man. And somehow we managed to get good film, good paper at discount prices. And A.W. Young was down, I think, Electric Avenue, and and we had a wonderful working relationship for years and years, but he really knew his stuff, his Eddie, whether he worked for Kodak in his youth. But eventually, economics of Brixton changed. A.W. Young went, and that's so many years in the future. And so, then in about I wasn't getting fed up with teaching, but it was hard going. Because of my humour and personality, I tended to find I had a lot of the difficult kids. And at the same time, people were saying, Phil, can you take some pictures for us? Can you do this? So in 1980, I thought, right, in 1978, I went part-time, which allowed me some time for photography and some time for education. And as sometimes in life you have to take a risk. And I thought, well, if I don't do it now, I was with my present girlfriend, who's now my wife, and we looked at the situation and we said, well, why don't you have a go? So, in 1980, I said, no more to Tulse Hill School. And they all said bye-bye with a tear in their eyes, only because I had this 1958 Triumph Tiger 110, a 650 motorbike. And if you ever knew Tulse Hill School, there was a slope from the road down to the main car park. And at the end of the day, I would drive that bike so fast up this slope that all the kids would stand by the gate to see me jump over the speed bumps on the bike, and they would all applaud. It's insanity. I used to have plastic ears on my crash helmet, and the kids would try and nick them. It was insanity. There was a lot of humour.
But an adventure.
It was an adventure.
Yeah.
I mean, the staff were fantastic. I'm still in contact with a couple of them now. And although we're all pulling on a bit, this is the other thing. Anyway.
So you took that plunge. You wanted to.
Yeah, I thought I'll have a go. So, luckily enough, by 1980, I'd established some kind of footholds in various areas of photography, and I can't remember exactly. But really, the big break where Southwark is concerned is that I had an old friend of mine called Vaughan Aston. Now, Vaughan Aston worked for the Leisure and Recreation Department of Southwark. And he knew, we only lived a street apart in Mitcham, and he knew I was a photographer, and he knew I was good at documenting things. And at the same time, I set up a little darkroom in the house, a spare bed, it was a box room, and you had an enlarger. It was very primitive, but at least it was better than the one at college, but it wasn't as good as the one at the school. Now, at the school at the same time, they were starting to there were plans in the future to demolish it anyway. Anyway, no, let's get back to Vaughan. So Vaughan said to me in 82, look, we've got these events happening on Peckham Rye. Would you like to come and document them? I said, sure. So,
what department did he work for, sir?
The Leisure and Recreation Department.
Yeah.
And his boss was a bloke called Brian Watts. And a colleague of Brian and his son, Graham Watts, was his first lieutenant in a way. So Vaughan was looking after these events. Then there was a bloke called Gerald Wallace, and these people were located in the old nuclear bunker opposite the town hall. I bet you don't know where
opposite the town.
Yeah, there's a nuclear bunker opposite the town hall. So I bet you didn't know that, and it's not on a map. That's why they never built on it. If you go to the old town hall and you look to your right, there's this big empty square, and underneath that is the nuclear bunker. So I've got pictures of it in black and white, but that's another story. Anyway, so Vaughan said to me, right, so in June 82, I went over to Peckham Rye, and he said, okay, this is it. So it was a very simple exercise in photography, but the interesting thing is that all these events, it was Peckham Rye, Southwark Park and Bel Air at that time, were the three events that the Leisure and Recreation Department put on every summer for the three different parts of the borough. And it always began with a float, a carnival parade. Right, so the one, for instance, at Peckham Rye, it would begin at the north end of the Rye, and it would go all the way up the Rye and eventually ending up on Peckham Rye itself before the floats were dispersed and people got out and suddenly got involved in the public and all the rest of it. Now, these events were 2 days events, and they were fantastic. It was a lot of hard work, only because they would give me a radio and say, Phil, can you go to this one or go to that one? So you spent a considerable amount of time walking between events and being told what to do. Sometimes they made me do really silly things. It was lots of humour.
Like what, for example?
I mean, walk to the other end of the park to photograph somebody with a dog. But it was fun. It was like an initiation ceremony that if they knew with my humour, if I could fit in, I'd become a team member. This is the thing, that I became a part of the team with regard to these events. They knew that they could depend upon me as I could depend upon them, because they were a solid team. To put these events on, you had about 20 different people from different departments that would come together. People would set up the stall, people would sort out the transport. Oh, it was a military, really, piece of training to get everything done on time for the public of Southwark. Rain, snow, sleet, it had to be done. And that's what made it so, and it was fun, because you got to know a completely different set of people who you've never met before. And within like a couple of hours, they got to know you, you got to know them, and your job was simple. They would send you, you would take photographs, and at the end of the weekend event, you would take the film, get it processed, then return to the Leisure and Recreation Department, which was down in the hole in the ground, give them prints, and some would go for publicity.
Yeah, so let me ask you something, just
Sure.
to interject there. So, did you take these photographs with your Pentax?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
I've got it.
So you used your equipment?
Yeah.
And they provided the stock?
No, I bought everything.
Black and white?
Yeah, these events were taken both in colour and in black and white. This is the thing, which meant it's when you analyse the photography of it, they tend to be, I call them primary images, because it becomes down to propaganda. But it was good propaganda. It was positive propaganda. It showed people having a good time. Through years, and my speciality, I think, of my 50-year career in photography is photographing people.
Yes.
And the important thing is that what's the point of taking negative pictures of these events? Because but I can only see the positive side. And these events were always very positive.
Yeah.
Everyone, there are always someone who may have staggered out the beer tent a bit too late, but that was sorted. There's always somebody on hand, provided by the council, to keep an eye in the background what's going on. I mean, there was, it was well organised, well structured, and it provided the public in the three different areas, which is Peckham Rye, Southwark Park and Bellier, three different economic regions in a way, to allow the public to enjoy Southwark's hospitality. I mean, things that I remember, right, there was banger racing, at Southwark Park. Can you imagine allowing banger racing now?
What is that, banger racing?
Stock cars.
Oh, the stock cars.
Yeah, it was insanity.
Wow.
I mean,
Which park was that?
That's at Southwark Park.
Wow.
But the thing is, it was all roped off. There was all people there, but everyone enjoyed it. But these days, with the world of health and safety, I can't imagine any type of vehicle in any shape or form.
Yeah.
And again, I've got some wonderful pictures of people with their stock cars. And one bloke I remember, I've got it in the darkroom, so there's a bloke called Big Ted, who had an enormous teddy bear on the bonnet of his car. He never won though, but the car looks really beat up and so does he. And next question.
But I just wanted to slightly go back a bit.
Okay.
So, I think you said what I'm really interested in is how you first got interested in photography, and you mentioned.
It's like my dad, really.
Yeah.
It was something that I just felt.
I know you did that project at.
At college. It's just I took my first reels of film in black and white at the age of 13 when I went on a geography field trip at my secondary school, it was. But my father processed them. I didn't get involved in that. Yeah. But it was something that I enjoyed doing.
What was it about it? Do you think?
I don't know. I can't. There are many things that it was for me. It was just I just enjoyed it. It sounds very dull and very empty, but I just had a natural flair-ish, and it gave me that sense of creativity. I was never been involved in painting, and I couldn't draw, but I could use photography to supplement my ability. I think I must be dyslexic somewhere along the end, where I can't. You read my emails and you think this is insanity. But I can't.
I wouldn't describe them that way.
I do.
There's a certain poetic.
Yes, well, that's what people collect them now. I have a friend. Anyway, I'm rambling. Right, let's get back to the. So really,
so there was something about photography that gave you a creative output.
Yeah, that's the point. It was nice. It was something that you could, and again, in '77, all those years up until I was documenting all my friends. I lived in this house in Mitcham with 5 other people, and it was full of artists and musicians. And it was a wonderful it was insanity because we'd have parties. It was fantastic, and so you think, as many other photographers, you and I can't name many, but I'm sure you begin with something that's in front of you, rather than thinking about, I must go and photograph the Grand Canyon, which I had no interest in at all.
Yes, it was always people for you.
It's the people, because before you, it's the quick and the dead.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised over the years, because when you look back through negatives, you look from the. If you go backwards, people who've died suddenly appear. It's quite strange. It's very odd. And people are, as you can see with these examples in front of you, people change so quickly. Before you know it, they're there and they're gone.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you actually, what style of photography would you say you are? Are you a social commentator?
Social. I mean, as a geographer, which I'm still proud to say that I am, I can take landscape photographs, but I have no interest.
Yeah.
I can fill boxes of landscape photographs. I know how to do it, all the mathematics of it, all the film types, everything you need to know. But it doesn't give me that, because there are people I've seen as photographers do a fantastic job. And my belief is, if someone can do it better than you, why bother? The trick is to find areas of photography that other people haven't explored, and that comes way later in my career as a photographer, which doesn't involve digital photography at all. So it's a process of change all the time. It's just the process of change, and realising that these days that everybody in the world, because of their telefoninos, which is Italian for mobile phone. Thank you. Are you awake yet? Good. You better be. Means that everybody in the world's a photographer, which I think is fantastic.
So what's your favourite part of the photographic process, would you say? Is it the actual taking of the photographs? Is it the printing?
It's everything, really. What's nice is that you can... OK, you got the Southwark stuff, they pay you. You do your job. You keep it reasonable, everyone's pleased. The trick is, you do a good job, you keep it at a satisfactory price, and you deliver on time.
Yeah.
It's as easy as that.
Yeah.
And you don't wind anybody up, you don't cause any kerfuffle, you become reliable. That's the thing. But you must have an element of humour. And I think that's the element of the teaching side of it, whereby, I did a few jobs in between 77 to 82 for the South London Press. And I knew what they wanted. It's just the fact of, there's no point in photographing people unless you get on with them. This is what happens later on when the town hall comes involved in it. So for the first couple of years, from 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, I documented all of these summer events for the council. But in between, then people in the town hall suddenly realised that these pictures were being sent back to the town hall, to the press department, and somebody said, who's this bloke? Now, next question. I'm jumping a bit, I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, you're not at all. It's fine. So you were telling me that you had this kind of almost like an initiation phase in the early 80s.
Of course.
You were going to these events and you were being sent on these kind of almost like errands.
That's right. It's like, go and get some elbow grease.
But it was an interesting time to be a photographer, I think, for the council. So the 1980s and 90s were kind of like 2 decades of upheaval politically in this country. You had the poll tax, the Falklands War, the oppositions with the trade unions on both sides of the political divide. It was also a time of racial conflict. The Brixton riots in the 1980s.
I remember that.
But meanwhile, Southwark Council embarked on a series of cultural programmes and events across the borough seeking to include diverse communities.
That's right.
So you photographed many of these events, including Gay Pride 88 at North Peckham Civic Centre.
That's it.
at Zido, Pan-African Dance Ensemble at North Peckham Civic
Yeah.
Centre.
Yeah.
You did Jam Day and Apartheid
That's
at
it.
Burgess Park, Black History Month launch
Yes.
in 1990,
Yes.
and the Nelson Mandela release celebrations at Dulwich Bath, to name but a few. So we've got an array of photographs here.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And I wonder whether I could take you down memory lane with a few of them.
Come on, Danny. I'll wake up now. Okay.
Let's talk about the earlier ones in the. Let's talk about this one at the Pride 88 benefit from North Peckham Civic Centre. So this was from June 1988. So
unbelievable.
Yeah. So
the thing is that these images, I think Chris Scale scanned,
yes,
and I remember
did.
them seeing in an exhibition in the room above Dulwich Library about 8 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. So he was talking about the actual taking of the photographs.
Oh, it's easy.
But was there something about gaining people's trust as well when you're
Of course,
there?
no. The thing is that,
or do you make yourself invisible? So this is
the
a classic one, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the thing about this type of photography is that have no fear, be yourself, and if people don't want to be photographed, don't push it.
Yes.
It's very simple.
Yes.
It's a very these are very.
So these are a series of photographs, portraits, almost
yeah.
of people at the Gay Pride 88 at an event singing. Some are in close up. They're all black and white. Some are playing instruments.
That's right.
But they're quite intimate photographs as well.
But
how far were you using lenses during this?
No, it's always a standard lens. Always use always get in close.
A 50mm lens?
Yeah, 50mm lens. Always get in close. I don't want to stand at the back because when you find you've got long lenses, people become suspicious because it's that distance. Whereas if you understand these people, and I like the old standard lens.
Yes.
And it does a great job.
Yeah, and what was your approach? Did you say, like, I'm going to be here but pretend I'm not?
What you would do is you would say, you would enter, or you would be given, the group would know that a photographer will be sent to these events.
Yes.
So they have been told that someone will turn up.
They'd know in advance.
Now, as Vaughan, it's back to Vaughan Aston. He is, in some sense, is the linchpin which goes both to the L&R, because all of these events were under the L&R wing, and
that's leisure and recreation,
and also the other wings that were a part. What have we got? This is. I don't know. I mean, in the end, people just said, "Phil, do this, do that, do the other," which you did do. And so, and to me, it all became one homogeneous element towards the borough. It all became. It just seemed to lap really gently. People were very positive.
Yeah.
You were very positive back. They got to know what you did.
Yes.
You say they would welcome you in.
Yes.
And everyone walked away happy, because for me it was just a simple exercise. I mean, in photography, it's just knowing over the years, one, get in close, be positive, and create images which would both satisfy the people involved in them, also for the council as well. I mean, at the age of, how old was I? 30 something. You don't think that far ahead in your life. No. But now I'm 74. Hear that again? Ha ha ha. You suddenly realise, you think, these pictures are a few. And then you look at these photographs of people, and then I know, especially on those pictures, some of those people ain't going to be with us anymore. No. That's the trouble.
The sense I get from them as well is that when I look at them, I think it's almost like you've taken them, like you're invisible there.
Oh,
you've let it flow free.
But the thing
is, they're very comfortable around you.
Yeah, but then I have nothing to fit. I mean, I was working at Tulse Hill School. I grew up in Brixton.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So these ones here that I'm showing you here, these are the Nelson Mandela
that was a good night out.
Release celebration.
That was a good night out.
Taken in February 1990. These were photographed at Dulwich Baths, and what we have here are a series of photographs of people basically celebrating the release of Mandela.
Yeah.
Black heritage communities here, but it's a massive party that was going on.
It was.
And what you've done is you've also taken photographs from, it looks like the balcony.
Yeah.
There's a lovely top shot.
Yeah.
But every single photograph comes alive.
Well, the
People
thing
are
is,
looking towards the camera and they're so relaxed. And this one at the end, I just wanted to point out, I don't know if there's one here where there's a guy, he's...
that's that one.
This one here, which we've got on display.
I know, it's a great picture.
Where he's got his hand up and he's got a massive, great big smile looking towards the camera.
Well, the thing is, at an event like that, you mustn't have any fear.
Yes.
You've got to be yourself.
Yeah.
These people became my friends.
Yes.
I was there to document it. And the point and the trick with this style of photography is, I call it hit and run.
Oh, right.
It means that you take a photograph and move. You take a photograph and move. So that, and I rarely spoke to people.
Why do you do it like that, Phil?
Because that way you can, you're looking for the next image. Because if you start talking, other things are happening around you which are important. And also you want to make sure you want to document as much as going on.
Yes.
Rather than getting involved in the conversation and saying, and not being rude. So you say, I'm going to... So it was a matter of... But here, at this event, very simply, you would deal with the mayor would possibly be at the event. And the mayor would be photographed with X, Y or Z.
Yeah.
And realising that you have 3/4 of a reel of film, there's no point in walking out the door thinking, it's just the mayor and the... You then would use the remainder of images to capture the event as it was occurring. That was the input, so that you would feel... These photographs mean far more than the pictures of the mayor, the lion, the witch and the wardrobe, as I would say. As well as it's that type of photography that you've seen one mayor, but it's the people that make the event. The mayor is the political person saying, yes, we're all here. But without the people there, it wouldn't have made sense. Most people over the years that I came in contact with, I would say 99.9% of the people that I came in contact with in my years as a photographer in the council were very positive. And you were very positive back. They trusted you, you trusted them, and you did the work at the price and you delivered on time. And and at the same time, photographically, I was doing so many different other bits and pieces for other areas in photography. So Southwark was one arm of the octopus in a way.
Yeah. Well, did Southwark sort of give you directions as to what they wanted?
Well, you just use common sense. I mean, in some sense, if you're going to photograph a 100-year-old birthday party, you photograph the lady or man with a cake. It's a very obvious visual statement. You don't necessarily want art. This is the thing. You want to show people having a good time around people. It's understanding the usage of local newspaper journalism photography, as in the South London Press, because I got to know all their photographers over the years, and they went on to the Guardian, the Independent, the Telegraph. I was quite happy to work for the council. Some people want to become famous. I was quite happy I like doing this. It was great. I got to know the people. I got to know so many people throughout the borough in all those years. And it was great because every time you see them, I say, how you doing? What you been up to? And the other advantage that I had this old motorbike, my little Triumph Tiger Cub, which allowed me to get around the borough. Top speed, I wouldn't say fast, but it allowed me to be able to get around quickly, whereas with a car you have to find difficulty parking. Some parts of the borough you couldn't park a car, whereas on a bike you get off on the pavement, do what you do, you find an alley somewhere and then get going again. So that's the advantage I had, apart from it being winter or when it was raining, but you're still out on the bike. I've been a motorcyclist ever since the age of 16 anyway, so the pluses and minuses. Carry on, your turn.
No, that's fine. No, that's. I was just going to say. So many of your images were published in Southwark Sparrow.
Yeah.
So were you? Yeah, sorry.
Right, the Southwark Sparrow. Very simply, back in 88,
Mm.
my work somehow ended up in the Sparrow because it would have been given to the L&R department, and they would then send the pictures to the Sparrow because there was a girl there called Sue, a great photographer, Sue. And when the family decided to move from Mitcham back to Upland Road in Southwark, I spoke to a chap called Brian Martin, who was the editor of the Sparrow, and said, Brian, look, big favour. I'm moving from Mitcham. I've been doing all this work for Southwark, and I haven't got a darkroom. And they said, well, look, we've got a room in the basement, which is our darkroom. I said, okay. I said, well, what could you? I said, could I use it for a couple? I said, sure. So anyway, in January 1989, I temporarily-ish moved into the basement of the town hall at Camberwell. You know, what's it? That's Camberwell, the old Camberwell Town Hall, which is in
On Peckham Road.
Peckham Road.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, they said, well, can you do some work for us? I said, sure. And I said, well, what about Sue? And they said, well, Sue finds it very eerie because don't forget, the old Camberwell Town Hall used to be a part of a lunatic asylum. Now, this is another story that goes on and on and on, because there are 3 tunnels that go from both sides of Peckham Road, underneath the main road that links, well, was it north? I can't remember. Whatever it is, where the library, where your library is.
Mm-hmm.
If you come out, there's 3 doorways.
Mm-hmm.
Those tunnels come out in the basement of Southwark Town Hall. Anyway.
Yeah.
And they said that Sue was feeling, it was eerie down there, honestly. It was honestly eerie working in the basement. Mm. The advantage was that I had central heating pipes, which meant that the room was at constant temperature. So you have a room which is a third of the size of this room I brought my own enlarger because the equipment that they had was too modern and it was not for what I work with. So I put my equipment in, and within like a couple of months they said, look, Phil, why don't you work for us? Because Sue would really like to get involved in the production of the Sparrow.
Right.
And it would mean that she didn't have the worry or the complications of doing the photography. And I said, fine. So basically, Sue, a good photographer, moved upstairs to the top floor of not the main part of the building, the public relations department. The public relations department, Sparrow, was there's 3 buildings: Georgian, and the main entrance is Deco. Mm-hmm. So Sue went upstairs and did editorial stuff. Right. They left me in the basement to get on with the photography, because down there they had a drying machine. They had a print drying machine. This was very modern technology that I never had, which meant you come out, you do a job, you get back to the town hall, you process the film, say, within half an hour. It takes you 15 minutes to get the negatives dry. It takes you a couple of minutes to sort it all out. Once you've done the prints, you put the prints into the dryer. And from beginning to end in an hour, you could have prints out the door for the paper, and that was important because sometimes.
So you were processing.
At
that point.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Once you learn how to process film, it's quite straightforward. Yeah. You know, it's quite dull in a way, but once you mastered the skill, it's like cooking in a way. Everything has to be in an order, in a sequence with time and temperature. Have you ever done any processing?
Yeah, I used to do photography.
That's right. I'm sorry. My apologies. I know.
It's great to go back there.
I know. I mean, to me, anyway, but it's true. It's
But did you continue to process your own films, or was
there
a point at which you just handed over the film?
No. All the black and white stuff I've ever done,
you processed yourself?
I've done myself.
Wow. Okay.
Everything in the last 50 years, I've always done. Even with the ones I made mistakes, on. I will put my hand up. Can you see my hands in the air now? Can you see? Look. You can see. Yeah, but generally I would say 98% they've always come out well.
So you stayed with the same camera, although. Oh,
Well, I've stayed with the same model, which is I changed from a KM to an even basic camera called a K1000, which is a camera that Pentax produced in their millions, I believe. It's a very simple piece of equipment because photography in the end, it depends upon your imagination and creativity, and the camera is the instrument that you use to create it. Is that right?
And the light.
And the light. Yes, light is very. Oh, believe me, I've learned. I look at light and I can tell you many things. You know, I mean, you can walk into a room and you go that 60th at f5.6.
Yeah.
Or 30th at 2.8. And again, I still see in analogue, although I do possess a digital camera.
So you became adept at knowing your depth of field.
Oh yeah, I know all the mathematics of it all. I mean, you give me a piece of paper and I can show you x equals 3 over 7 times this, that, and the other. All you got to remember is 1 foot forward and 2 feet back. Yes, that's right.
So did you make the decisions as to what was selected?
No,
to go into
no.
That was all the editorial.
That's always I made sure that when working for the Sparrow, that they chose. I mean, on occasion, if it was really rush, and don't forget, it was only 3 flights of steps to go up and come down again.
Yeah,
it wasn't that critical in time. I mean, but on occasion, you think that's the picture. It depended upon the circumstances. And some days it was literally up to the wire, as they say, because the Sparrow was a great.
It went to press, you mean?
Yeah, it went to press. This is the thing. And as it was a weekly thing, it was really, I had a little book and I knew exactly where to go, when to go, and how to go. So I knew I had it all pasted out. On occasion, someone would say, go, right, so you get on your bike and off you go. So I had plenty of film. So I got the film from Eddie. And I used to buy bulk film in bulk, 100 feet at a time, which was economic. And you would have a bulk loading machine. But there are pluses and minuses by using a bulk loading machine. And in the last 20 odd years, I've stopped using it. It's just too much of a headache.
Okay.
You know.